conservative. Obviously, the stimulus has been going on now for over a year. What are your thoughts on the plan originally and how it's worked and what the economy holds over the next year?
Well, the promise was that if we did these certain things, we would hold unemployment below a certain level and all that kind of stuff. Well, obviously, I don't have to say that hasn't happened because everybody knows that it hasn't happened. I think that you run economies, you drive economic growth by looking at the fundamentals. The three things that create value in a society, the three things that you guys do every day: work, save, and invest. Those three things cause economic activity. Work is anything you create. So the article that you create, that's work. Something didn't exist before, you make it happen. Savings is money you put aside for a rainy day. That has tremendous personal and social value because when you save, you reduce the risk of other people having to bear the burden in a compassionate society. And investment, that's what people do when they buy a newspaper. And they create jobs, and then they buy another newspaper and they invest in something else. Those investments require the formation of capital in order to be accomplished. So in order to have real substantive economic growth and resolve the fiscal issues on the federal side, in terms of the government side, you've got to do things that stimulate those. The current proposal didn't do that. It was replacement money in many cases, where a state was hurting, they filled in a gap and they funded something, claimed it as a job saved when it was really a state job or responsibility, or it was a temporary job. Road construction, sounds great, infrastructure. But once that job is gone, has there been any lasting effect? So real stimulus is reducing the burden on work, savings, and investment. And so that's why I would like to see the death tax, which this year being a good year to die, I'd like to make every year a good year to die, and the reason I say that is that there's no death tax this year. Next year it'll revert. Savings. There should not be taxes on savings because that's money you pay taxes on when you earned it. And investment. We should try to reduce the barriers to people getting engaged in commerce. That will generate new activity. Howard Dean, who is no Republican ideologue, was on TV last week or 2 weeks ago. And he said, look, there is a point at which you can't raise taxes anymore. There is a point at which you can't do that. It will become a disincentive. Now, he would obviously put it much further out than I would, but the fact is, it's an economic reality. So what I would like to see as a stimulus is a flatter, fairer tax code as early as possible that's stable. Because one thing that's so important to businesses, the president has said he doesn't understand why businesses aren't hiring, because after all, we've solved all the problems. Well, businesses hire when they see an opportunity that additional labor being brought into their system will generate additional profit. They don't hire just because there's a $3,000 incentive associated with a $60,000 job. The math doesn't add up. So real stimulus is creating opportunity, reduce burdens on work, savings, and investment, and then get that flatter, fairer tax system in the short run. And in the long run, look for additional ways to reduce taxes on work, savings, and investment and allow the burden to be borne primarily by consumption. When I ran my state Senate race, one of the things that I was running on and encouraging was the elimination of property tax. And again, this is a pragmatic thing. 18 states have eliminated one of the three sources of revenue, property, income, and sales tax. Those 18 states are the top economic performers, or in the top 20. So to me, that's a very simple message that, if you can create an incentive for businesses to come, and we do it all the time. We have Keystone Opportunity Zones, we have KIZs.
How many states have all three?
All the rest of them. All the rest of them have all three. That's what I'm saying. There's only 18 that have two. And none of them, as far as I know, have eliminated property tax.
I don't know of any that don't have property.
Right.
I do know some that don't have income.
Don't have either income or don't have sales. That's correct. And to me, that's the kind of thing that I look for and say, all right, well, gee, that's made those states more competitive, or at least could be a factor in that. Let's look at that. And it certainly makes sense from the standpoint of if you're going to tax my work, I may be less motivated to work. Again, even Howard Dean acknowledges that at some point that's going to happen. So the one thing that you could tax, and this is why I like the fair tax, is tax the consumption side. It's upfront, it's in your face, you know what it is, it's evenly distributed, and it has the benefit of being very difficult to toy with. The tax system that we have now, the reason it's so complicated is because there are always people who can gain an advantage by playing with that system. My business is involved in helping people find ways to follow the rules and get a tax advantage. I'd love to see that, the necessity of that go away, and there shouldn't be, in my opinion, a tax season. Spring, fall, winter, summer, those should be the seasons.
Did you, this is not a major issue, at least not in my mind, but did you feel as a Republican, when you heard or read about McCain or whoever were the members of the group that went to Carney and said you'd make a great Republican, did you somehow feel as though leaders of your party had let you down?
Not somehow, most definitely. Yeah, it was a very bad move. Not just because of the political implications, but because of his voting record. I mean, he doesn't have a voting record. I just got off the phone with a Pocono River reporter on Friday on the issue of pro-life. Somehow, Congressman Carney has the image of being pro-life. It baffles my mind. He has cast one pro-life vote in his entire career, and that was the last year's Stupak amendment. That was the only pro-life vote he'd ever cast. The National Abortion Rights Action League gives him a 100% rating. Planned Parenthood gives him a 100% rating. And when he's asked, he says, well, I'm Catholic. I got 5 kids. That's not the question. The question is, are you pro-life? And his voting record would demonstrate that he's not. So,
can't you separate the two? Can't you be pro-life in your private life, and when you're an elected official, elected by multiple religion, multiple viewpoints, vote your district, separate yourself from the church?
and what's his district?
Well, I'm just asking the general question.
No, I don't think you're. When I ask a politician about their stand on any issue, I am not asking them about their personal preferences. I'm asking them how they're going to vote. So no, I don't think. I think that's a distinction that is irrelevant, because I'm not asking what you prefer for lunch. I'm asking what will you tell me I have to eat for lunch.
But he doesn't say I'm the pro-life candidate.
No, he doesn't. No, I'm not. He's been very artful about that. He just says I'm Catholic and I've got 5 kids, and let's us draw our own conclusions. But his record is very clear.